I used to listen to better podcasts, but then they became worse than this podcast. So now I feel confident saying this is the best podcast
Nah,
I've heard.
I'm still listening to better ones, but
Oh, are
at,
you?
at the very least, yeah. But
Oh,
at the very least, like, this is serviceable. I'll say this, like, I like listening to better and funnier podcasts, but we're funny, but we also talk about like video games. So I think that's
it's
all right.
true.
Because the
It's
funniest
true. That is.
podcasts I listen to do not know shit about video games.
Does that mean
So
video games aren't funny?
no, they can be, but no one else is. That's not true. A lot of people are doing it, but I'm not. I'm just. But I think we're all right at doing that. Because
The only thing I can think of that would be on a funnier podcast is listening to somebody talk about how they blew tens of thousands of dollars trying to get good at Quake 3 and they didn't get good at Quake 3.
yeah, I mean, what's like? Let's be real. Like, I think what we're gonna have is a lot of funny takes on Bean Dad from different podcasts this week. I
Oh,
think
man.
I think there's going to be a lot
Oh,
of good bits that come from that. It's the internet topic. You see, it's landing on the like flavor agnostic like page
I love
of the
I,
internet news.
I love Bean Dad so much.
Yeah, man, totally. It's a great story. The deeper you dive,
Oh,
the
it
further
had
into
so
the can
many
of beans.
twists
It's great.
and
So,
turns.
but that's what I'm saying. So Bean Dad, you're going to get a bunch of different takes from Bean Dad across different podcasts, some of which will be goddamn hilarious because, fucking professional comedians and shit will be chiming in on that. And that's not what
You
you're
mean
getting
like
here.
you and me?
No,
You mean
that's
like
not
us?
what you're getting here.
No,
But
I'm a
what you
professional.
will get here at the very minimum that I can assure you is you will get some form of dumb reference to a video game you might have played sometime, or even an anime or a manga, possibly an obscure TV show that'll make a comparison to Bean Dad. And then with that thing that you recognize, and then the new current flavor, we create some form of like back and forth, and we break it down into a way that you go, all right, now what comes next? You compare the secondary character, like the daughter, and then the other secondary thing in the comparison, and then the joke goes.
Willie, are you doing this on purpose? Did you you woke up relatively recently, I assume?
No, I've been up for a little bit.
Because I don't know how much you check my personal Twitter, but I was talking about like all sorts of shit all day because I've been up since 1 a.m. And like the fact that you crowbarred in, oh man, there'll be a reference to some obscure video game thing. I had like this massive thread that I posted this morning
Okay.
over like how video game shit is there's too much now.
Mm-hmm.
There's too much video game
Yes.
now. And I used the example of Silent Bomber because I remember we were talking about fucking Bomberman Act Zero like 2 years ago on the
Mhm.
podcast. And I said to you, man, you know what they should have done? They should have just made Silent Bomber again. Because fuck yeah, Silent Bomber. But like, that's a pseudo obscure PS1 Konami video game that didn't sell very well.
Yeah.
So like, some of the people watching this, like, in fact, a lot of people watching or listening to this, were born after that game came out.
Yeah.
And a bunch just didn't play it.
Yeah.
How valuable is that obscure reference when nobody knows the fuck I'm talking about?
Not very. But it's just another one of those things that you sit on top of, and you know that you have it there waiting to drop in case, I don't know, something remotely tangentially related to the topic comes up. And if someone does know it, they're going to be like, oh man, that shit's hilarious. That was for nobody. But you also get to flex something that you've been sitting on because you just want to talk about Silent Bomber.
You guys should check out Silent Bomber. It's
Yeah.
really good.
I have tons of random shit floating around that I'm like, at a drop of a hat, I want to talk. Give me a reason to talk about Dolphin Blue, and I'll tell everybody to go check out Dolphin Blue.
I gotta be real. I don't know what that is.
Exactly. That's my point. I don't know what Silent Bomber is really either. So,
Oh, it's great.
but this is where we're at. Give me a
Should
reason to
action
tell
game where you
everybody to
plant
check out
bombs.
Hybrid Haven or Radiant
No,
Silvergun.
no one wants to talk about that. No one, come on.
Whatever, you know? Like, it's just, we can just throw things that are good out there that are old. It doesn't really get us anywhere, but here we are.
They don't even have to be good. No one knows.
But the point is, it's not about that, but it's more so that I remember when I was talking to, I had a series of conversations with Min. I remember when we were breaking down, like, literally how our humor works and how it has, like, come about over years of this type of thing, over years of playing games and podcasting and shit. And yeah. I remember, like, I was like, there's a fundamental disconnect in what is making you laugh and what is making me laugh, and in how we can play with ideas and concepts here. Because, and I'm like, to just water it all the fuck down, it's take current thing in front of me on television, or in lap. Grab slightly related, similar subject matter from other previous media, marry the two together, create funniest combination of names and or words with these things. All right, concept has been established. Layer 2, go to the sidekick and or secondary characters of both of these properties, try to force that connection. It's even further away than the initial connection, but that makes it even funnier. And then layer 3, find something that is a plot point relating to both of these unconnected worlds and put them together and create third tier of joke, and then laugh.
You're forgetting layer 4. You're forgetting layer 4, which is find racism, add racism.
Well, that's Woolie specific flavoring.
Well, yeah, because we're talking about you right now.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but in general, the humor that has been across the channel with all of us has been this essential formula of grab thing in front of you and compare to other unrelated property that is also a game or media or anime, and then extrapolate those things together.
I like to think that I've taken a nice divergent side path into absurd self-parody.
Yes, there's that. You're on that particular kick right now. But you've always been on that kick.
I've been on that kick for like 5 years.
Yeah, you've always been on that kick. But your awareness of it and how you react to that changes a little bit of how it expresses itself.
A little bit.
Like, the obvious is to, you just follow the formula of the current story, and that's how you get the unique Super Beast flavoring. So you're not going to get the best written or planned material about Bean Dad, but you're gonna get well, people are already on top of that basic idea, and we've retweeted them. So hey, look,
I don't have a hot new Bean Dad. I could tell you that Gene Park fucking ruined the Bean Dad jokes for everyone because he posted fucking Gendo Ikari with a fucking can opener.
So that's the obvious. End. No, it's not.
The end.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So that's a great one, but equally strong is the one that I retweeted, which was Kreia going, "What did you accomplish by by not opening this can? What did you accomplish? Was anything achieved by putting the can on the fucking table and walking away from it?"
How do you feel about Tim Ray, like, working on some bullshit and telling your 14-year-old son, just read the Gundam manual. Just read the manual for the Gundam. You can do it. You do it, Amuro.
So then now you go, all right, cool. It's that simple, right? You got your Kreia to Bean Dad, and you got your Gendo to Bean Dad, and then all you got to do is just keep that little fucking train going for a couple segments, and then call it an intro.
But Woolie, that's level 1 Bean Dad.
It is.
How do we get to level 2? That's right. The Castle Super Beast flavoring. Add racism. Now we're at level 2 Bean Dad. Do you know why you can't open that can? Because the Jews are stopping you. Oh no, Bean Dad, no!
Strapping
three
strap 3 Jedi to a chair and force feed them beans until they die. Just walk up in that room with a big old fucking tube of beans on your back and just force feed 3 Jedi strapped to a chair until they can no longer eat beans and they die. And when they die with beans, and when they die from beans, they die outside of the Force.
All right, so I'm gonna roll this back a little bit because a lot of people are very confused by that thing I so happily blurted out. The funnest part about the Bean Dad story was that it was the fastest I saw the escalation of Milkshake Duck ever. I'm sure everybody knows what Milkshake Duck. If you don't know what it is, just look it up. Which was, man, this Bean Dad guy is laughing at his kid for 6 hours trying to open up some beans. Oh, man. What's up with that guy? He seems like a jerk. And then you, like, scroll down on his Twitter page, and you're like, oh, no.
All right, well, let's start here, then.
Oh, no.
Well, let's start here because not everyone is as... current savvy and status quo as we are on the internet. So we're discussing the 48-hour phenomenon at this point. It's been about 48 hours since it's come to light.
I feel like it's been less, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's hot and it's fresh, and if you haven't heard the story, it's because it's hot and it's fresh and you haven't caught on yet. But this is how
it's
we
hot and
propagate
fresh
it.
beans. That's right, yeah.
So this is a story with a thread on Twitter where the main character of Twitter on Sunday, January the 3rd, was Bean Dad, a man who told a story in no fewer than perhaps 30 tweets about how his daughter came up to him asking him to open a can of beans so she could eat them, and then he kind of just went, well, why don't you go open the beans yourself? And then he realized he never taught her how, and then she was like, I don't know how. And then he had a boner at the teaching moment that he could get out of this,
and basically in 30 tweets how he didn't teach her how to open it.
Yep, he basically just got off on his own magical parental moment that he could have here, as he affectionately referred to himself as Apocalypse Dad, and went on to essentially torture the child by not providing the beans. And then at the end, essentially, he was like, 6 hours later and many tears later, she opened the can, but not after he essentially she gave up, and then he threatened, no one in this house eats until you get that can of beans open. So it just catalogs a series of insane parental choices as these responsible challenges presented to the child, and then pats himself on the back, and then everyone went, you're fucking insane, and then he disappeared.
Your mom or
but
dad
not
ever
before.
teach you how to use a can opener?
Yeah, at some point.
My mom taught me how to open a can using a can opener.
Mm-hmm.
I said, Ma, I don't know how to open this. She said, okay, cool, here's what you do. She showed me on can number 1, and she said, okay, next time do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 45-second process.
Now hold on a second there, right? Let's not necessarily eliminate the idea that you can have fun teaching moments, right?
Oh, sure.
Let's say you wanted to take that and go like, hey, there's something fun about the idea of seeing if you could figure out what to do in a emergency situation, how to get this can open, right? So, I don't know. How about if you wanted to play a little game, you go, hey, kid, why don't you take a crack at this, right? I'll give you 3 tries to figure this out, and if you get it in 3 tries, you'll get double your allowance this week, or you'll get some extra game time, or some other form of positive incentive, and if you don't figure it out, then your life continues to be normal.
And I'll just show you how to open a can of fucking beans.
And then you don't starve and get mad for 6 hours and then, like, actually say, I hate you. And then I go, ah, ha, 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 ha. Like, how about positive reinforcement or making a game out of the bonus thing of the lesson you want to learn? And if it doesn't occur, then normal life continues. How about looking at it from that point of view instead of go to the dungeon if you can't get your beans out?
Also, I have there's so much depth. There's delicious depth to this. Not, like, everybody's talking about, like, the kids just want the beans. But, well, when you're 9 and you were hungry for a snack, did you go to the fucking kitchen and be like, well, time to eat some beans?
No, I don't think I did.
That's a little off, right?
It's a little off, just a little bit.
It feels like the only food in the house is beans.
In fact, the Bean Dad did confirm that the cupboards were bare. So yes, the only food in the house was beans, which he then decided to Heihachi off of a cliff so that his daughter could get down there and retrieve them.
That's great.
Well,
Oh,
the fun step, of course, is then this guy deletes his Twitter or whatever, but
well, he deleted his Twitter because everybody found out about the Illuminati that he was onto, and
well, it is in the end it made it very hard to find the thread. But his Twitter got deleted, but not before people were able to find a series of tweets talking about what should be done to the Jews and about the N-word problem and various other forms of racial opinionated tweets, and in some cases ironic, quote unquote.
The one that really got me, which was something along like "can't have any fun because of the Jews" or something like that. It was just like, they're ruining my fun.
Yeah, I believe hashtag shooter knocked was used in one of them. So,
and then in what might be the shittiest attempt at a save I have ever seen, his co-host on his podcast, because of course he has a podcast. Everybody has a podcast. Hello, welcome to our podcast. Ken Jennings, the guy from Jeopardy, goes, I know him really well, and it's crazy. On our podcast, he always just talks about how much he loves Israel. It's like
the guy. Is that like the guy who says the announcing in the beginning?
No, Ken Jennings is like the all-time Super World Jeopardy champ.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was the guy who was in the running to be a possible Jeopardy host. Oh. And then people were like, "Well, how's his character?" And then they started going through his tweets, and they were like, "No, not you, Ken. No."
So is that where the blue check came from?
Yes. Apparently he did. I'm not familiar with the podcast, but apparently Bean Dad also wrote like a very popular song that was used by a much bigger and more popular podcast than ours that was then immediately removed from that podcast within like 10 minutes of this whole fucking thing. Yeah. So just scorched earth for Beans.
Look, Beans need all the PR help they can get.
Oh, that's why he loves Israel. Because, according to Bean Dad, the United States is a de facto white ethno-state.
Yes.
That's why.
Correct.
Therefore, Israel's how you're supposed to do it. Yes. Keep them all over there, said Bean Dad. These are quotes. These are quotes, people.
You know, the best part about your de facto ethno-state is when you forcibly make it not an ethno-state by dragging people from a different ethno over to your state.
That's different.
It's almost like if you wanted an ethno-state to be pure, you wouldn't muddy it up by grabbing other ethnos and forcibly dragging them into your state. Maybe you should have not forcibly dragged them into your state if you wanted it to be pure. Have you considered the consequences of that?
I don't want to do the stuff.
Well, hey. I'm just saying. You could have had it, but you chose not to have it. So, what are we going to do here? You're going to sit there and you're going to eat your fucking beans. That's what you're going to do.
That kid's fucked.
Yeah, there was some great There was some really great like memes that flew out of this, obviously, and one of the good ones was the astronaut gun shot, where like the astronaut was just staring at all the issues this child will have as a result of this, not trusting, not never wanting to ask for help, lashing out, lying instead of asking for help, lashing out when feeling inferior, just like over the ordeal of, again, these 30 tweets. You just line up how all of these pool balls, when you break when you break, all the fucking pool balls just go scattering into different pockets.
And let's not even including, like, in high school, like, wait, isn't your dad the bean racist?
Well, this is the thing now, is what is not described is how many of these tweets were uttered out loud around the child that have been internalized at this point. Hey, man,
if you feel ballsy enough to cry out for the pure white ethno-state in a forum as public as Twitter, who knows what kind of shit is going on in the privacy of your own fucking house? Oh, man. Oh.
Yeah. So that's exactly it. Are we already dealing with a situation where, you know, I don't know. It's just Prussian blue existed once upon a time. Okay.
What do you mean once upon a time? That's a good radiation treatment.
Prussian blue?
Wait, I'm thinking of the wrong thing.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of a drug that helps cure radiation poisoning.
No.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the twin sisters that were basically raised to be Nazi pop stars.
I type this into Google?
You can. They're not a thing anymore. They're not a thing anymore, but once upon a time, some psycho crazy Nazi parents raised their kids to be pop star girls that were basically singing about their, you know, 1488, etc. And they, I believe, grew up and eventually left that behind and went like, yeah, we were basically brainwashed into becoming that. But until that point in time, they represented some of the most fucked up, like, this is what a parent can do to a child when they want to turn them into like fucking crazy X copies of themselves.
Oh, would you look at that? The real Prussian blue is in fact a synthetic modern pigment, and it is in fact orally administered as an antidote for certain kinds of poison.
Yeah.
Well, that's where that name came from.
So it's kind of like Love Live with more cross burnings.
With the Hitler.
Yep. A little bit like that. Anyway,
you know,
so this time around, Wooly did not bring up the racism. It entered the story organically.
Yes, like beans. I bet a lot of people were sitting around going, I wonder what they're going to talk about this week. And Prussian blue in the ethno state was not on the docket for the first 30 minutes of today's podcast.
It's always on the docket up here, but that's besides the point. I like I said, it's not everywhere you're gonna get your Bean Dad comparison to Kreia and Gendo, but
that shit escalated so fast.
But doesn't it actually just make perfect sense that this is like these are the conclusions that come in on step 9. Why wouldn't your step 2 moments be full of danger signs?
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah, totally.
Warning, no refuge.
Well, this personality type seems like the kind of person to be a massive ass. There it is. There it is.